right, welcome to the Young Blood Podcast. Today we have the one, the only Miss Anna Waite on. Me and Anna have been friends for countless of years, man. Like it's really hard to say how long we've known each other, honestly. She really wanted to come on, and I wanted to have her on. She's currently kind of experiencing her own story with the coronavirus, and a lot of her friends right now are going through a lot of shit. They're all fighting unemployment, especially trying to get on unemployment. And here's Miss Waite and kind of her story. Tell me where were you working at before all this happened, and what are you doing now to make money?
So I had two jobs before this all happened. So I worked at Two Rivers Salon and Spa. I don't know if you knew that I worked there. And then I did like a second job at Goldie's Corner. You know how there's like the bistro and then there's like the coffee shop?
Yeah, you worked in the front or in the back?
The front. The bistro is behind.
Okay.
So I was just working there, both jobs. And then now that this whole coronavirus stuff is going on, they shut down the spa. And now I'm still, fortunately, like I said, working at the coffee shop. Obviously not as many hours and it's not as busy as it usually is. But, I mean, it's some form of money. And then, like I told you, I filed for unemployment for my other job. So.
And how well did that go, if at all? Like, are you on unemployment? Have you heard back yet from that?
So it's kind of a hot mess. Like, it was definitely a process to do. Kind of complicated stuff like that. I don't really understand, but I did it. But I still have to, like, call them, I guess, because I got stuck in, like, this, like, one section where it was, like, you have to basically look for work. But I was like, how does this work if it's, like, you're basically unemployed because of the corona thing? But I don't really understand.
Well, actually, that's also why, fun fact for all of you bartenders out there listening, I do run and operate a small business, and I am hiring one position right now for next week. This doesn't mean I'm going to help out a lot of you with a job, but this also means you can apply for the job. That being said, if I'm contacted and said by the unemployment office, and if they ask if you applied for work through me, I will vouch for you guys and that will help out. So there's one person that'll get you for your at least first week. I think you have to do like 1 or 2 a week or something. I don't know. I'm not on unemployment. But those of you who are on Bartenders of Idaho, that link is on Bartenders of Idaho. It's a CMY LLC, and that's the company that I own. You guys can use that for your, you can apply. It's on Facebook. The application is right now, which is valid, I think. But there is also a position open. So if somebody does want to come do some hard labor next week with me, I got a spot open for them. So.
Well, that's awesome. See, I had no fucking idea. I'm like, what do you mean I'm supposed to look for jobs? I'm like, but I'm unemployed. Like, they didn't lay us off. Like, it was like a forcible shutdown. So that's what I had to choose when I chose my employment. But, and then also another thing that like complicated it even more is I don't have a valid Idaho driver's license. I still have my California one.
But
so
you're
I think
a
that's an
resident
issue too.
here, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what do you consider a resident? I mean, I paid my taxes, but I don't know. I haven't been here for a full year.
That's true. A full resident, I think you have to be here for at least 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah, so you have to be here at least 6 months, and then you have to have like proof of that. So, but if your mom lives here, it's pretty. I hate to say it, especially on a podcast, but it's pretty easy just to say that you've been living there.
Yeah.
Like, because you've always had your parents who've had residency, so it's like it's not like you just moved out of state from some like to a state that you have no family ties. Like you used to be here and then you came back, so you're technically reinstating residency, I would say.
For sure.
You know what I mean? I'm not an expert on it. I'm probably totally butchering it, so don't fucking quote me on it. And anybody listening to this, please tell me if I'm wrong, because I probably am very inaccurate. I'm pretty close. I might be like fucking getting there, but not very well. So if I'm wrong on that, go ahead and correct me, anybody. But I'm pretty sure that's how it goes. But yeah, Anna, you are my first female guest. You are the first chick I've ever had on the show. How do you feel about that?
It only seems proper for how long we've been friends.
This is true.
I was thinking about that actually when before you called me. I was like, God, how long have I been friends with Casey? And I think I met you when I was like 18 or 19 years old. And I'm about to be 25 this year.
We're going on 7 or 8 years at least. I mean, like, me and DeAndre still stomped the yard together and fucking
Hell yeah.
like especially recently, me and him have been getting together a bunch. He wanted to come on the show recently too, because I don't know if you've seen his Instagram or anything like that, but his shoe game situation, whatever he's doing. So basically, what he does is he gets shoes at wholesale for like Nike and Jordan, and like basically he gets there and he can, I'm butchering this again, but he can get really rare shoes at really good prices because he can get them like when the store opens. Like he knows when the deals come and stuff like that. So if you're a shoe guy, which I am not, I wear fucking Vans and that's it. Like the coolest pair of shoes I own are for wearing a suit, you know. And then the rest of them are all Vans, and probably the most expensive pair of like shoes I own are my work boots because I have cowboy boots for work. Other than that, I don't give a fuck about. I don't even know. If you tell me what Air Force Ones are, I'll like literally be like the airplane that the president flies in.
Oh my god.
Like I have no idea about shoes, but he wants to come on and he wants to talk about that and his whole shoe thing. And clearly I need a lot of help because I have no idea, and he's gonna explain it more to me. So hopefully he'll put some light on that.
A lot of guys don't know anything about shoes or fashion. I mean, which is hilarious.
Guilty as charged. But yeah, speaking of fashion, tell me about that. What'd you do that whole time you were out in LA? What was the you did something with fashion? Kind of explain that a little bit.
Oh god, I did a bunch of stuff. It's actually really cool what I did. So I moved out to Los Angeles in 2017, and then I was wardrobe styling actually. So I was freelancing, I was doing internships. The first internship I ever did was actually with a Vogue photographer. I was also working for a company where they had like stores kind of around LA, but they were kind of all over the United States. And they were like a very like styling based company. So yeah, and I was just doing internships, and then I started going to like New York Fashion Week for some of the work that I was doing. Yeah, it was fun. It was definitely fun. But LA gets tired after a while.
Oh, so. It does. It gets very tiresome. I firsthand can tell you that. But what brought you back then?
Well, I guess like the last like year and a half I was there, I was just kind of like slowly getting really unhappy. Like I'm just like such a like energy and vibe person, and it's like I love being around people I love and I care about. And in LA, like people don't give a fuck about you. No. Like unless you have something to offer them or you have money or this whatever, they don't give a fuck about you.
If they can't gain something from being around you, they can't just be like in your area. They can't just be your friend to be your friend. They have to be like, oh, this guy's going somewhere for something with something, so I want to hang out with him more and shit like that. And that's also, it's funny you say that too, because that's the same feeling I got when I moved back, because I'm originally from there too, and I've been here 10 years, so I when people actually ask me from here, the first thing I say is I'm from Idaho. I do not brag about being from California because nobody here likes that.
Yeah.
Like there's not a single person from Idaho that is not proud of it, and because this place is rad, you know, and don't move here. But basically like shit, I just lost my train of thought. That's concussions for you, ladies and gentlemen. Don't get concussions, and I'm just going to leave it at that and let Anna take over a little bit with her fashion week.
So yeah, I was just starting to get unhappy, just like really didn't like the people, like was kind of finding myself in situations where like if I needed somebody or someone, I didn't really have anyone to call on. You know, whether it was like I had no money or I was stranded at 3 a.m. or I had my car towed, like it was just very like, wow, like I don't have anybody out here. And kind of as I get older, I kind of care more about, you know, what makes me happy and who makes me happy and what makes me happy. So yeah, like I said, the last year and a half I was there, I wouldn't say the year and a half, the last year, I was just kind of like, you know what, I'm fucking over this. And I was going to New York a lot for work to do Fashion Week. And I was like, I kind of fuck with New York more. I was like, I'm kind of over LA. And then also, like, my whole life, I've absolutely loved music. Like, I literally grew up, like, singing in the living room on our, like, PA system. Like, I absolutely love music. My dad, like, plays guitar and drums and he was an Elvis impersonator. And my brother plays guitar and, like, writes music. So the last year I was there, I was kind of like, I love fashion. I'm really good at fashion. But is this what's making me happy? Is this
Right.
really what makes me feel alive? And it wasn't anymore. And so I kind of like just took a step back and I was like, well, I miss home. I haven't been home in almost 3 years. And, you know, all my family's here. A lot of my good friends are here. And I was just kind of like, fuck it. Like, I want to come back. I want to actually focus on music and do music. And it's a lot easier to do when you like live at home and don't have as many fucking bills to pay because you're in
Right.
such an expensive state. And I kind of had more of that like creative freedom to, you know, if I want to fucking take a day and like just literally waste an entire day and make music, I can. Versus LA, I was working over 60 hours a week just to afford my apartment, you know?
Right.
So it just kind of got exhausting. And I was just like, I'm going to come back home. I need mentally and emotionally a break from everything. And so that's what I did. And it was scary at first because it was kind of like, holy shit, like I'd been so many years, I worked my ass off to get to LA and do all these things out in LA, and kind of got intimidating with like so many people, like from Idaho, especially being like, wow, like you're in LA, you're following your dream. It's so inspiring. Like you're killing it. But like little do people know I was completely unhappy. And so when I moved back and everyone's seen me and they're like, you moved back? Oh my God, I can't believe this, blah, blah, blah. And it was just like so much talk that it like bothered me a lot. Cause I was just like, I feel like I took like 20 steps back. But at the end of the day, I kind of have to remember like I'm doing now what makes me happy. And even though I like started from scratch, I'm doing what makes me happy.
Right.
So
Are you planning on staying here for a while? Are you having plans on moving on to New York? What's your idea of future?
I don't know. You know, I always think I have my future plan and then it goes completely 180. When I first moved here, I was like music, 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 music. And then I kind of got into a relationship, kind of got lazy and got, you know, so absorbed into this relationship where I forgot about me and what I wanted. So then it was kind of like, well, I'm just going to move to New York and make this easy. You know, I just want a new environment, a new space. But then I had to take a step back and be like, well, if I move again, I'm not going to know anyone out there. I'm going to be in another isolated city by myself. You know, is that really the smart choice? So I kind of like got away from like New York, New York, New York, and kind of, especially since this whole fucking quarantine, because I've had so much time to think and really take everything in. I'm like, you know what? I'm taking this time to write a lot of music and focus on myself. And I'm like, at the end of the day, I'm like, I just want to fucking sing. I'm like, that's all I want to do. I'm like, I want to go sing shows downtown and I want to eventually be able to go on like a tour and, you know, collaborate with like local artists here. Cause I think there's so many amazing artists here. And I guess right now, kind of my headspace, it would be I'm chilling in Boise for right now. I don't mind it. I love everyone that I have in my life currently. Definitely have a lot more real friends than I did in LA. But I just want to make music and that's it. And I'm like, that's all I can hope for right now.
What's cool about Boise, though, too, to say something about that is this place has a growing music scene.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is somewhere like if you do want to build your passion or chase your passion, going to LA isn't something you want to do, and that's taking it from two people who haven't or who have done that. People in LA are going out or leaving and finding themselves more successful than they are being there. It's just
For
a
sure.
trap. It's just a trap, and like in Idaho, like the thing is. That's why I want to get into stand-up. That's because this town has such a like small stand-up scene right now that if I am to get into something, now's the time. Like, you know, have you seen the show Tiger King yet?
I'm like almost refusing not to watch it because everyone and their fucking grandma
so
on
good.
Instagram is talking about it. And I'm like, all I know is like he was like a gay tiger leader or something, I think. And then like his wife had him killed. I don't know. I'm like, I don't understand what's going on, but everything about his sense of fashion, I'm all about. That's the only thing.
So you haven't watched it?
No, I have not watched it. I've seen plenty of memes, so
You need to.
I don't know.
So if you know who Bert Kreischer is, he's a stand-up comic on Joe Rogan. He was on Joe Rogan's podcast, and he was on another one recently. It was Rediscovery. 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 Rediscovery I think it was Joey Diaz, but he's all like telling Joe Rogan, I'll tell you this right now, like my special is on Netflix. Watch this fucking show before you watch my special. Like that is a hard fucking statement to make about a TV show. I was like, damn, bro. And so the next day I did. I took his advice. I was like, all right, dude, if you're telling somebody to watch a TV show before your own special on Netflix that you produced, all right, I'll watch it, you know. So I go on and I watch it, and I sat and watched the entire show start to finish, the entire season. I was like, oh my god, what the fuck. It was absolutely ridiculous. Hop on the fad. It's do you have Netflix, or are you one of those people that just does like one of those
No, I've got
services?
Netflix, Hulu, HBO, you fucking name it. I've got all the streams.
Oh god, I'm the same way. I felt like a terrible human about it before this whole quarantine situation happened. And now that we're on quarantine, I'm like, I don't feel so bad now. I didn't have to.
I know.
I didn't have to like get any new subscriptions. I already had them all.
Yep, I'm like, I can only watch so many shows though until I'm like, okay, I've never been really kind of like a chill kind of just watch TV all day person. Like I'm such an extrovert. Like I love going out and socializing and eating and drinking and shopping, doing this. And I'm like, this quarantine is literally going to be the fucking death of me.
Actually, between you and Michael Dinescu, you two, also known as Twerk, you two are the most extroverted people I think that I personally know. And it's kind of funny that ironically I've had you guys both 2 days like back to back on my show. And at this point, between the three of us, we're like three of the most extroverted people. Like he's fucking itching to get out. I'm itching to get out. You're itching to get out. What do you think's gonna happen if this? I know like people, when they do crazy things, they do really crazy things. And at this point, I kind of feel like people are gonna start doing really crazy things. So I'm kind of thinking like, yeah, you can't go out and you can't go shoot up an airport. You can't go shoot up a school. You can't do that right now. What do you think's gonna start happening with fucking all these crazy people being cooped up? Now they're really cooped up.
I don't know. I mean, I kind of have like a positive aspect on it right now. Like, as much as it sucks and we're all like itching to get out, I feel like this quarantine has really made people kind of realize who's important and what's important. I feel like it's, a lot of people have stuff that they normally wouldn't have time with, whether it's like fucking deep cleaning the house or just doing your laundry, where we feel like we don't have enough time in the day, and now we do.
Right.
But also a lot of people are like woke as fuck right now. Like I feel like a lot of people, including myself, are like on some spiritual journeys right now.
They have to be. They're all finding themselves. Everybody's finding themselves right now. That's for sure. Yeah, and it's nice, and I'm like, fuck, I feel like I'm gonna like come out of this quarantine and be like a whole new woman, which is kind of what I need right now, because me personally, I wasn't really happy with myself a couple months ago, and it's just a lot of self-realization, a lot of things I'm coming to. So like what, for example? What is the most positive thing you realized being in quarantine? Oh God, there's a bunch of things. I think my number one would probably be, I was actually like writing it down today, was I hate to be that girl, but I mean, I don't know, everyone's on their spiritual journey, but I found God again. And I think that's Amen to my biggest thing. I the last, I think 3 or 4 years, I mean, I've always grown up very in a religious household, very Christian, very like God. And I feel like ever since I moved to LA, maybe a little even before that, I kind of lost God. Got kind of wrapped up in my own selfish world of like, well, this makes me happy, and not so much, I shouldn't say thinking about others, but I was just very selfish. And I was very like, just not right with God and who I need to turn to and who I need to trust to. It was kind of just like, it's me, myself, and I, and that's all I care about. And now it's like, holy shit, like the world could end tomorrow, and would I be happy with myself? And am I right with God? You know what I mean? Right. There's been a lot of that, very much like reading the Bible and reading, spiritual journey books, and like
praying a lot, and just like I said, just really like fucking waking the fuck up and being
Right.
like, the world isn't all about me. And I
Right.
know we get wrapped up into that. And it's like, I wrote like a bunch of goals I want to do after this quarantine's over. And I'm like, I want to go like volunteer more. I want to be more involved with my church. I want to, you know, hold the people I love close more. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's
Well,
been my
one thing I
biggest...
can say too about what you said, especially, you said the world could end tomorrow, and you know, one thing that's really scary to think about is, yeah, the world could end tomorrow, but if you think about it this way, the world already technically has, in a way, not ended, but life as we know it, life as we live currently right now, yeah, maybe it'll come back in 21 days, but it's over. Life as we know it, life as we live, going out to the bars, going to raves, you and me, going to EDC, you know, we used to do that shit all the time. We can't now. So right now we are mourning a way of life. We are mourning a lifestyle that we can no longer live. And that's gonna start hitting people really hard. You know, but just to kind of reflect on what you said, yeah, life as we know it could end tomorrow. Or life could end tomorrow, yeah, but crazy to think about now. Life technically already has in a way. What are you going to do about it, you know?
For sure. I know. And it's scary, but I think we all kind of fucking need this. I mean, I needed it for sure. Like I said, I was just so lost in my own ways that I was just living through life and, oh, it's all about me, and now I'm like, oh my God, no, it's not. Like, it's not.
Now you get to spend life in a set of onesie pajamas and hanging out watching Netflix at home all day.
I know, and it makes me so stir crazy because it's just like, you know, like Easter's coming up soon, and it's like I want to go to church and I can't. You know, I have such a heart for old people, and I want to definitely like volunteer in an elderly home like once this is all said and done. And I'm just like, I can't even go see old people right now because I'm like, they're the most high risk, you know? I'm just like, everything I want to do, I can't do. And I'm like, but I can sit here and pray. I can sit here and write music. I can sit here and at least talk to my friends on the phone or FaceTime and just do the little things.
Are you having a hard time? Are you facing a lot of like lack of motivation with? Because for me personally, like I'm a motivated person, but even though like I have nothing going on today, I still find it hard to get up and go do shit. Like especially today, it's kind of gloomy out. Like I have nothing going on, but I'm just like stuck, you know. And it fucking sucks. Like, I'm just like, oh my God, I have so much time to do all these things. And then I end up not doing a fucking thing. And I'm like, I have so much time to do all these things. And the next day, again, I'm just fucking couch potatoed out. Dude, I'm like, all right, like, this is an issue. It doesn't help that it, like, hasn't necessarily been, like, the last 2 days is sunny. But, like, even on the day it was bright as shit outside, I still was like, oh, yeah, I'm gonna go fucking walk the dog and, like, get outside. I was like, but I can't go get a drink if I want to. So I'm just going to sit here and pout. Sure. Yeah. Are you facing any of that? Like, do you have lack of motivation right now?
Yeah. I mean, it sucks because it's like, I don't like to think that I'm a lazy person. But I think especially since I moved back to Boise, I've become extremely lazy. Because I just think I was really burnt out from just working so much. And in LA, you drive everywhere. And I was just always on the go. And I kind of had this mindset, like when I moved back to Boise, I was like, I'm just going to fucking chill. But then I took that chill too hard. Well, you know, when I first moved back, I was like going out all the time, but then I was like sleeping all day. And then I got into a relationship and all we did was chill. And then I was just like, oh my God, like, this isn't me. And then especially since the quarantine, I sleep the fuck in. And I'm the same way where I'm like, okay, well, I need to do laundry. I need to clean my makeup brushes. You know, I need to do this and this and that. But I just find myself end up watching a show or I'm on my fucking phone for 5 hours. Like, I feel like our generation is just so involved into social media. And especially right now, because we feel so isolated and alone, we feel like we need to be on social media in order to feel a part of something because we can't fucking physically go out and interact. So I've been trying to stay off my phone, but it's so hard not to. But yeah, most of my days I'm like watching TV or on my phone. But I reward myself for the little things where it's like, okay, well, I wrote today, or I did piano today, or I sang today, or, you know, those little achievements. And
right.
and who knows for how long this is going to go on for. I'm like, yeah, I gotta keep doing stuff like that to make myself feel better, because I feel like this isolation and this quarantine is only gonna burden people's like mental health, especially like
Right.
I'm suffering from it severely, and I'm
Oh,
like
dude,
all
yeah.
everyone else is, and I'm just like, this sucks.
Definitely. I've definitely faced, like, I don't know what it's like, cabin fever. I'm just like sitting here like, oh my God. I'm just like, I I definitely feel an effect by this, to say the least. And
Mm-hmm.
it's really interesting to say or to see. And my mom, like, what she said too, because my mom is an introvert motherfucking lady, never leaves the house, love her to death, but she never leaves the house, right? But yeah, even what she said to me was really crazy to think about, because she said, I don't ever leave the house, blah 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 blah, but it's when I'm told I can't leave the house, I
Mm-hmm.
have a problem. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, yeah, like, I can probably count on one hand how many fucking times you left the house last year. You know what I mean? Like, to go do something, like the grocery store doesn't count. But like, yeah, to just like go do, like, go to the zoo or go do something, I can count. Like, you're an introvert. You like to hang out at home. That's cool. But
Mm-hmm.
like she said, once I'm told I can't go home or I can't leave the house, that's when it makes people really itchy. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm really thinking that there's gonna be kind of a wave of craziness.
Mm. I definitely think when this is all said and done with, everyone and their grandma is going to hook up with each other, because people haven't seen the opposite in forever. So that'll be interesting, especially in this town. But
I'm sure there's been a lot of ex texting. There's been a lot of that
for
is a
sure,
tongue twister. Try to say that 5 times fast.
X texting, X texting, X texting, X texting, X texting.
Maybe I just need to get the dick out of my the sock
No,
out of my
I have
mouth.
like phenomenal, what's the word for it?
Enunciation.
Enunciation. I literally had an old lady tell me at my work. She
You
actually
have
brought me.
phenomenal enunciation, dearie.
Yes. Yeah. She's like, I'm 78 years old. And she's like, every time I call here, I can't understand anything anybody's saying, but you're the only person I can understand. And she literally brought me a cookie from like her bakery just to thank
You have
me.
some of the weirdest fucking stories.
The weirdest stories?
Yeah, I swear. Well, I mean, you're one of the people. What I've always found really fun about is you're a sober raver.
Yes. Yeah.
And I really commend that. Like, whenever you do go to a show, like, every show, you
Mm-hmm.
always see Anna Waite in the corner dancing her heart out, and it's the funniest thing too, because I've seen countless people just be like, "Oh man, I want what she's on," yeah, and I'm just like, no, nope, nope, nope,
Well,
and that's what's
even
awesome.
too, like going out to the bars now, like people think I'm so drunk half the time. And then they'll come up and talk to me.
I
And I'll
always
be like,
forget too. I'm always like, "Oh yeah, dude, Anna, you're fucked up," and I was like, "Let me buy you a shot," and you're like, "I'm, I'll just see you over there. I'm good.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
See me on the dance floor though."
I'm like, out of anything in this world, I'm like, I just fucking love to dance. That's all my heart and soul ever needs. And that's why this quarantine is killing me. I'm like, I just want to go fucking dance. That's it.
This
That's it.
quarantine to me has just gotten started, and also at the same time couldn't end soon enough. I am
Mm-hmm.
so incredibly over it, but it's a terrible attitude to have.
I mean, and I saw that like a couple days ago or yesterday or something, they're trying to extend it till the end of April, beginning of May.
Did you hear Trump say he's all like, "Oh my God, it's gonna be over by April 20th.
Easter.
It's gonna be over by Easter." I'm like, dude, what? No, yeah, right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nope.
I'm just like, how are people not going to work for a full month? How are we supposed to stay inside for a full month? That's crazy.
When he first started being president, living in Idaho, like, and being, what was I? He's coming on what, 4 years now, almost to the end of his term.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, back then I wasn't even voting. I didn't really care, but I still definitely wouldn't have voted for the guy at that time. I was like, no, fuck Trump. And living in
Mm-hmm.
Idaho, there's definitely a very heavy Trump following here. Just a very Republican
Mm-hmm.
state. This whole state is just so red. And one crazy
Mm-hmm.
thing to me that I saw, And this was a week ago, or over a week ago almost. Like, I went to the pawn shop to look for a pair of headphones actually for this podcast, just like nice studio headphones. And there was a line out the door to buy guns. Not even joking. Not even joking. There was a line out the door to just buy guns at the gun section. Like, one by one, single file line, all the way from the gun counter out the door in a giant pawn one. I was like, what the fuck? And to me, that was kind of unnerving for sure. That was like, whoa, dude. Whoa.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are just really scared right now.
Well, because when you think about it too, people in Idaho, we already have a lot of guns. So those are people who don't have guns. Like, there's already plenty of motherfuckers who got plenty of guns chilling out. Those are the guys who are lined up out the door who don't have guns. Like, whoa. You know, so it's funny to me how this country, or this whole state, is just, it's the northwestern Texas. You know what I mean? Like, we are definitely our own entity here. And I don't really understand how they're enforcing this lockdown. I've seen people with letters of importance where they're like, I'm an essential employee, you know? And I'm just like they put the letters on their Snapchat. And I'm just like, I mean, at the same time, when you really think about it, guys, if you're out of your house and by any means the cop isn't comfortable with the situation, he can just be like, well, you weren't where you were supposed to be, and fucking they can violate your rights and shit. So that to me is kind of scary too. We're kind of in a time right now where if something were to happen to you, or if you were to get in trouble, the odds are not in your favor right now. And that's kind of something that's scary to think about. That's something that's new, because that didn't happen in 9/11. It's not like the cops going to be like, you're flying, maybe, yeah, like TSA, but like not just walking around outside the fucking street. They weren't going to be like, you're a terrorist. Like, to some extent, yeah, but not to this extent, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I have so many thoughts and feelings on it. It's like I was scared at first, but now it's like kind of like I don't want to live my life in fear, because it's not really a nice way to live, a healthy way to live. And I'm trying to be so positive about it, because I'm just like, this will end, this will be over, you know, like we'll all go back to work, we'll all go back to our normal daily routines. Might be a little different, like you said, and it might be a lot of people coming out this differently. It's just, I hate not knowing a matter of when, you know.
Do you personally know anybody who has COVID-19?
No.
You don't know anybody after, like, your family, out of your friends? You don't know anybody? My dad got a test. We're still waiting to hear back. But that's because he got food poisoning earlier this week and didn't drink any water and fainted because he was dehydrated. So it wasn't anything more than just not taking care of yourself kind of thing, and bad timing, something that would happen on any regular normal day. But he's older and has diabetes, so it's like it's a bigger deal in that situation, you know? So, but because he had to go to the hospital, they didn't even let my mom in the hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, so they just had to take my pop in an ambulance, and they didn't even let my mom in the doors. And so they finally, like, released him and gave him some fluids. He was all fine and dandy, but they did test him. So now my dad's on a mandatory 14-day quarantine until he gets the test back. And we hear back from the State Department. It takes like 7 days to get the test back too. It's kind of a ridiculous process if you think about it. Like, you know, in the movies when they're just like, you know, they swab the mouth and they get an instant reading right there, like, you're positive, you throw them in the fucking ditch, you know, like in the movies and shit. It's not like that. And I think that's half the problem. Half the problem is like lack of availability of these tests. If we had a way to test for it right away, I think we can really stop the spread. But not knowing, and like the lack of precaution, I feel like when they're taking it, like they just sent my dad back home like and very well he could have it. Very well he could have it, you know. And it's just, and my friend also said, he's like, well, I honestly think this is a big deal, but at the same time I think they're doing some shady shit to hide, like using this wave that's going on, and they're riding the wave to hide some other stuff. Like, they know this is serious, you know, but they're not just putting all their energy on this. They're also putting some energy into, like, hiding some other shit that they shouldn't be. That was his opinion. I don't know how I feel about it. You know, I just think this whole thing is, like, I was originally, like you said, I was scared. Like, fear was the first thing that came into my fucking head. I was like, fuck, dude, this is really scary. Now I'm just bored.
I think the fear slowly, like, dwindles away, and then you're kind of just like, okay, like, but I mean, fear sometimes comes back to me because I've been seeing all over Instagram, like, people who live in Boise who have it. And I just saw, like, some guy's post the other day. He was, like, I think, like, mid-20s, early 30s, and he had it, or he has it, and he's in the hospital, and he's just like, this is really serious, blah, 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 blah. Like I said, I just think it's, like, the fear of, like, the unknown. Like, we don't really know too much about this disease or virus, you know, and we don't know what it can do, what it will do in the future, because, I mean, I've heard them saying, like, they think it's going to be like the flu, where it's always going to be around. But now I'm reading things where it's like you can get it again. Like, once you have it, you can get it again. And people who in China, like, got it again. You know, people our age who they say are low risk or, like, ending up in the hospital with pneumonia, like, close to dying because it's such an intense virus.
Right.
So, I mean, again, I go back and forth of, like, being scared, but it's just like I also, like, kind of go back and forth where I'm like, but we can't not work for months. You know, we can't just isolate for 6 months. I'm like, our economy will go to shit, our mental health will go to shit. So I don't know. I'm just, like, so back and forth with it, where it's like, it's scary, but it's just like, what do we do? And we don't know anything, you know?
One thing that hit me really hard personally was, I'm Italian. I'm a quarter Italian, so I'm not, like, super, like, fucking from Italy, fresh off the boat, nothing like that. But watching this from a third party standpoint, and just watching, like, I saw a clip of these elderly Italian people, just super old people, but, like, usually old Italian people, they're fucking hardy, you know. You see, anytime you see an old Italian lady, they're just like, fucking man, you know. And they're hard asses, dude. And, you know, and I saw this clip of, like, these old people on respirators in Italy, and it was, like, mainly old people just really, really suffering. And you gotta put into account too, like, there's a lot of smoking in Italy. Like, everybody in Italy, like, you've been smoking since you're 10 years old, and you've been smoking, and you're 77 now. You know, you've been smoking your entire fucking life, hard cigarettes, you know, one after another. So, like, you have to put that into consideration with it being a respiratory virus. You also, you have to put in consideration, we have surpassed China in positive COVID-19 cases, but we are also testing more people. So we have passed China, but we've surpassed China in tests as well. So, like, China, there's an article the other day that I saw, like, China sees the largest number of no cases that day or something like that. I'm just like, well, like, I heard we're just testing more people. So that's just what I heard. Like I said, I'm not a news podcaster. This isn't an information podcast. You know, don't come at me for your information. Go watch the fucking news. You know?
I know, and that's what I hate about all this is, like what do we believe that we read? You know, It's like we're constantly reading new things every day, and it's like, what's legitimate, what's not. Like, I heard how, like, it's basically done in China. It's like they're just wrapping everything up. Like, they got rid of all the extra hospitals, blah, 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 blah. But then I heard the next day, that's just a lie. Like, their government's just saying that to, like, chill everybody out. I'm just like, I don't know what to believe. I'm like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to believe besides just be home.
Right. I try to just stick away from Facebook. I watch the news in the morning and at the night. I used to never watch the news, maybe, like, once a week. Nobody in my family, I come from a family that never watches the news. They don't give a fuck about what's going on outside of their house. Like, it's funny, you know, but, like, my house alone is watching the news twice a day. It's like back in the fucking 50s when you would see the entire family sitting around the radio listening, you know. It's like that now. Like, we're in a national crisis. I'm like, and I have my own apartment. I still live in Boise. I'm living with my parents in Nampa because I'm not trying to get locked the fuck up by myself. Like, just sitting there, like, fuck, dude, this is boring. Like, all I have is a fish tank and an Xbox, you know, and my dog, like, my dog, but You know, he can't even go outside, and he just sit there and stare at me like, why are we sitting in here? What is wrong? You know, so I decided to take the initiative and spend some family time and be like, all right, well, if I'm going to be stuck at home, I'm at least going to spend some time with my family.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what everybody should kind of be doing right now is like, take this time to maybe go. Like, I've seen a lot of people doing it too.
For sure.
A lot of people are going back home. But yeah, take this time, spend the initiative, or make the initiative to just hang out with your family. Like, and personally, I would gouge my eyes out being as extroverted as you are if I had to sit by myself in my room, in my apartment, because I live alone in my apartment for anything more than a week. A day, yeah, I'd be like, fuck this, I'm gonna go get a beer. Literally, that's what I would like. That's a direct quote from my brain. I probably say once, I don't know, fuck this, I'm gonna go get a beer.
Can you imagine all the couples that are being quarantined right now?
Imagine
together?
All the couples that are being broken up right now.
Legit. I'm like, I can't even imagine. Like, you have TikTok. I see like all these things on TikTok of just like these couples just fighting and stuff, and I'm just like, damn. I'm like, that must suck. And a lot of people breaking up. I
have to laugh about TikTok. I'm thinking about putting some of this on my TikTok but the data transfer is just a bitch. I use so many different this is all actual hard, like, it's like gigabytes of data just on one video versus a TikTok. You can use your phone camera, and like, so transferring all these gigs to my phone just to upload it onto TikTok, it's not worth it to me. But it's a lot of TikTok's a lot, and I love how I saw your TikTok today for the first time, and I'm on there and I'm like, oh, Anna's got a TikTok, she just started. You know, I've been on TikTok for like a month now, and I'm like, fuck yeah, I got a little base of people. Anna just got on TikTok, fuck yeah. And I go look on your TikTok, you got like fucking 30 times the amount of following that I do, and one video with actual views on it, and I'm like, bro, I have put hard effort and time into my fucking TikTok videos, and this girl comes along, posts one fucking video of chicks at Amsterdam drunkenly dancing, and hits the jackpot on likes. And I'm like, you know what, TikTok, I'm off for today.
I love TikTok. I've had TikTok for probably like 4 months now.
Okay, so you've had it longer than me. I think I've had it since I want to say about 4 months. We probably had it about the same time, but I don't keep fucking track. I'm honestly kind of pissed I downloaded it because it's such a like time warp.
Addicting.
Yeah, it's a time warp.
Yeah.
For sure. And anybody listening to this that is judging me for having a TikTok, fuck off. I didn't want to download it. I did one day. I regret every little bit of it, but it's so good.
It's fucking
so good. And being somebody...
It makes me laugh my fucking ass off. And sometimes you just need that. Like, I got it like 4 months ago, and I made my ex-boyfriend download it, and we were just like cracking up at these videos on there.
I hate how it's a lonely laugh, because sometimes the shit on there is so funny that you're just like choking, and like there's people like across the room staring at you like, dude, what's funny? You're like, watch this TikTok, and you're like, go fuck yourself. And I'm like, but watch it, it's funny. And they're like, no. And I'm like, but you don't get it, it's funny. And I'm just like, okay, well, I'm just gonna enjoy it to myself. But especially in my house, like I run downstairs, and I go show my mom, and my mom, look at this video, and she's like, oh, that's funny. And I'm like, oh, you don't get it, whatever. And I run back upstairs. But it is like that. It'll make me laugh so hard sometimes, and I'm just like, fuck, dude, this shit is gold. And being somebody who writes comedy, I really like the content. The content that you run into on TikTok, and sometimes is pure fucking comedic gold. And it's really funny, too, because it's amateur comedic gold. So you just see people in their house. Just granted, a lot of the TikTok videos are based off other TikTok videos that people have made. So it's not a lot of, like, original content. But it is good content. And it's good content to watch and appreciate. And it gives you kind of an idea of modern day comedy and what's trending right now and what's funny right now. And that's really important as a comedian standpoint, because you really need to know what's being joked about, especially like right now, because I have a feeling that customers or not customers, but all of your audience are going to be online now, you know, and actually starting stand-up, I write already, and that was the first step, was writing and getting bits and doing all that. And the second step was doing open mic, and I had a couple open mics planned. I was going to go to the small bar before I hit Liquid. There was a small bar by my house that did open mic that not a lot of people know about, so I could go to that one, gain some confidence, then go to the one right downtown that all my friends go to, you know. So I had a whole plan based around it, and that's why I was going to start a podcast, was kind of do the whole 9 yards, right? And now I had to like do a whole 10-day video series. So I don't know if you saw the videos of the people in Italy doing days 1 through their day 10 of their coronavirus exposure. I did the same thing. I did a 10-day video vlog of that. That was the first series before this podcast. This is the 3rd episode. You got a little gremlin over there.
I have a million dogs. Don't mind that.
Sorry, guys. As much as we love hearing her dogs, they're probably really cute. Where was I? Remind me.
Stand up.
Right. So podcasting now is the kind of the way to go, because there might not be much of a audience for stand up in a public setting anymore. You know, that might be straight out the fucking window. Yeah. So, and a lot of stand-ups already do podcasts. It's just kind of one of those fucking things. If you're a known comedian, you probably have a podcast. 90% of the time, if you're pretty well known, you're funny. People like to listen to you. You know. Yeah. So that goes hand in hand. But the whole COVID-19 thing kind of expedited the process. I was gonna put all kinds of planning and effort, do a logo, do all this shit before starting a podcast. And finally, after being quarantined, I was like, fuck it. Day 1 of quarantine, let's go. You know, and I like, you can see, it's actually kind of funny, like from my first episode to my 10th episode, you can see all the equipment slowly by each episode show up on Amazon. Because I was like, I didn't have backdrops, I didn't have anything before, you know, so I just had like a little mic on the first episode. The second episode, I had something else, and with every episode, it got a little bit better all the way to the 10th one. So it was pretty funny to see, actually. But is there anything we missed, you wanted to talk about, we didn't cover? Is there anything you want to specifically say at this point?
I know, I feel like we could talk for hours. You and I are like such conversationalists.
That's a big word. You got to keep the words at a minimal here. This is a 2-tier word only talk room. Anything over tier 3, you're gonna have to put in an application for, and I'll have to let you know beforehand if I know what it means.
Well, I was going to say, oh my gosh, I didn't know you wanted to do stand-up comedy. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks too, because right as I was getting into it was right when everybody in stand-up is like out of a job.
For sure.
You know, so literally every single stand-up comedian in America right now is going, what the fuck do I do? Yeah. You know, and so, and hopefully, like, surprisingly, getting on Apple is a bitch. Getting on Apple Podcasts is probably the hardest part about podcasting. Like, it wasn't the equipment, wasn't the recording, wasn't talking into the microphone, wasn't any of that. It was actually getting my content approved on Apple Podcasts, where you can just go on and actually find it and listen to it. That was the hardest part. Like, literally, the day I got the email where it's finally like, your podcast is approved for Apple, I was like, yeah! That's awesome. Like, ran downstairs and told my dad. I was like, Dad, dude, check it out, my podcast. And then thinking about it, I was like, wait, I gotta talk some shit about my parents on this podcast. I probably don't want them to know too much about it just yet.
But see, the positive out of it, like I was saying earlier, is like, I feel like this quarantine's kind of given everyone like a little bit of a push to do what they need to do, you know? Because would you have done this if you were just living your everyday life, going to work, going out?
No, I've been saying for weeks I was going to, but nope, you're right.
Like, you need that little push to just kind of do it. That's what I needed. I needed to just sit here and write music and make music and find things to make music about. And like that, like I said, that's the positive out of it. It's just we're doing things now that we normally wouldn't do. And yeah, because an audience is online now currently, it's like, who knows, you might blow the fuck up from it. Everyone's bored, everyone's stalking each other on Instagram and finding things to keep them entertained. And it's like, you might come, you know, somebody might come across your podcast, or somebody might come across this or that, and you might get noticed. And then, like I said, when it's all said and done and we're back to our normal life, it's like you got a foundation, you got something to kind of go off of. and, you know, use this time to really just like focus on you, do these podcasts, and then when it's all over with, you can like go do stand-up comedy. And I want to come if you want me there. I will come. I want to see it. I love stand-up comedy. I live for stand-up comedy, obviously, but I know it's nerve-wracking when you're new. But oh my gosh, that would be so much fun to just do your thing, boo. I'm like, life is so short, and I'm like, you got to do what makes you happy, and fuck social norms. And I think anything's possible if you really have a whole lot of heart and soul into it. I mean, look at me. I'm 24, almost 25, really focusing on this music thing. And most people would be like, oh, there's no way. You can't do this. Like, you're too old, or you'll never make it. You live in Boise, blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, if you really fucking want it, you can do it and you can manifest it. And I 100% believe that, no matter how ridiculous your dreams might sound.
This is actually, to agree with that or quote on that, I was watching a movie last night, and it was actually with, who's the guy that fucking stand-up comedian from Saturday Night Live. I'm not gonna say it like this because he hates being known as this, but he's the guy who dated Ariana. Pete Davidson.
Pete Davidson.
Fuck, I'm sorry if Pete Davidson, you're out there listening. I was trying my very best not to make you that guy who dated. I know you already live with it, whatever. But
I only know because I'm like literally Ariana Grande's biggest fan. But yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah, there was a joke that was in the movie because he's the star of the movie, and like this kid who totally idolizes him in the movie, his dad envies Pete Davidson, and his kid defends Pete Davidson and says, "But Dad, he's starting a podcast," and he's like, "Nobody cares about what you're going to do; they care about what you've already done." And I was like, "Ooh, pa-pa. Mm-hmm. Get it, son." And it was the dad from 2.5 Men, the bald, nerdy one. The one that nobody actually knows the guy's fucking name, and he threw that shit out there, and I was like, damn, fucking Alan's got some logic. Let's go, Alan.
I mean, I feel like that kind of goes off of like, don't tell people, show people.
Exactly.
And that's kind of my headspace. Because I'm like, a lot of people, I've been keeping hush hush because they're like, why are you back? Like, oh my God, you were in LA doing this and that. And I'm just like, yeah, I missed home. But I'm really not telling too many people what I'm doing because I'm just like, so many people can sit here and say, I'm doing this and I'm doing that. But fucking show it, prove it. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm more of like a shower. So it's kind of just... I'm like, I'm just doing my thing, and then when I'm ready, I'm ready, and I'll show everybody what I'm doing.
You're a grower, not a shower, I guess, huh?
I hate that term, but sure.
I mean, like, I was pretty impressed by that whole term, or, like, the whole thing you said, too. Just, like, fucking nobody cares about what you're going to do, man, and that's true, and I kind of, that hit home with me, especially because at that point, I had been telling people for probably, like, 2 months now, I'm going to start a podcast. And so what you said, too, hits home because you were like, this really pushes people to do something they really wanted to do or that have been pushing off and haven't had the time to do. And you're right. Like, I didn't have the fucking time to do this, and I can't say I would have done this if it wasn't for quarantine. Mm-hmm. You know, so that's one way to look at it. And, you know, it's one of the things that we really have to do right now to kind of stay sane. Because this whole situation is really, really, really difficult. And some of us deal better than others with it. And some of us really just don't deal well at all. And, you know, these are just a couple things that we do to kind of stay sane, just to think about. Because take it from us, if Anna and I can survive through the shit of not being able to go out and see people, you know, you guys can too. I think we're going to wrap it up right there. We've already been going for... an hour now.
Damn, son. We just love to talk.
We do.
We've got nothing but time to talk.
We'll do this again soon when it's not on a podcast. Again, guys, this is the Young Blood Podcast. I am on Apple Podcasts. Search one word, Young Blood Podcast. No spaces, no the. We are on YouTube. Again, this is the glorious Miss Anna Waite. She has been awesome. Thank you for coming on. Is there anything else you want to say to cap this off?
Just thanks for having me on. You made my entire day.
Right on, guys. And what's your Instagram?
I don't even know my Instagram.
Give a shout out for your Twitter and your Instagram real quick.
I don't have a Twitter.
Atta girl, good for you. Neither do I.
Absolutely not. My Instagram, I think, is Twiggy, but it's like with 3 I's and 2 G's. I have no fucking idea.
She doesn't even know her Instagram name, people. Follow her on Instagram. It's Twiggy. Thanks again, Anna. I love you to death. And we're done.